Welcome in, everybody. This is Pro Football Enterprises. I am Ben Parker. That's Austin Freed, and that's Shane Ratliff. And we are very thankful that you're here with us tonight, doing something a little bit different. Okay, we have covered a bunch of draft prospects tonight. We're just working off of Excel. We did this last year. I enjoyed it. It got a fair amount of views, so we appreciate everybody who tunes in. We're taking different offenses. This will be a series, different NFL offenses, and we're talking about how to try to attack them, shut them down, hinder them, any way that you want to phrase it, right? So tonight is the Green Bay Packers. We've got the Green Bay Packers offense kind of listed up here. We'll put together about six different points. Again, this is not a cohesive game plan, but this is each of us bringing to the table a couple of things that we would try to accomplish as we try to, slow down this Packers offense. And then the other helmets that you see there, that's just a representative NFC grouping. Okay, Saints, Bears, Cardinals, Eagles. That's nothing magic there. It's just, hey, if we were some NFC defenses, what would we try to do? So, uh, Shane, I think I'm gonna let you start off tonight, man. This is very fun and relaxing here for me. Okay, and if you want me to draw something up, I'll draw it up. We got toolbars all over the place, so it won't hurt to add a little bit of drawings as well. But go ahead and talk to us about what you would do first, going after this Packers offense.
I think the number one thing for me, and I think all defensive coordinators expunge this the second you talk to them about how do you want your defense to react. For the Green Bay Packers, especially this year, the last 2 years, I would say it's you got to stop the run. Their offense is predicated on how that run starts, and then the options off of it. The Packers went out, spent some money to get a 1A tailback, where before they kind of let that go by the wayside. And I think that that's made this offense more dynamic and has taken a lot of pressure off of Jordan Love and some young members of the wide receiver core.
See, I totally agree. It's number one. Nobody's gonna be able to see this. I don't care. I'm gonna show it anyway. Number one on my list: hinder the run game. Okay, I put down four notes depending on what y'all came up with. Is Jacobs necessarily the most scary running back in the NFL? Not necessarily, but I don't want this Packers offense to get a nice running game going. And now it's 2nd and 5 for Jordan Love and group, and it's 3rd and 2 for LaFleur and Jordan Love. I just don't want that. So, I'm going to use 4 to 5 guys, depending on how good my defensive line is, and I'm going to do my best to hinder the Josh Jacobs attack here. I'm not necessarily looking to just shut him down, but I want to get down to 3.5 yards a carry. I want every time he touches the ball to be a headache. I want him to struggle to put out, consistent chunks. If he breaks a 40 or 50 yarder on me, I'll live with it. I just don't want him picking up 4, 5, and 6 yards a carry every time he touches the ball. I mean, I can't stop the Packers offense if he's doing that. So I've got to stop that first. So I totally agree. That was mine as well. Austin, give us another note here on how to go about the Packers, man.
Yeah, so I'm looking at their third down effectiveness basically from last year. I've looked at a little bit of stuff this year, but 2 week sample size isn't enough for me. So I go back and look at last year because it's a lot of the same offense. And third down, they are really good in passing situations on third down. And I think, being able to keep those third downs as long as possible and not give them a bunch of third and threes and under uh, is key. But when they are in these passing down situations on third down, they convert really well. And I think that it has a lot to do with Jordan Love and his ability to extend plays, which I don't think is talked about enough. So I am trying to find different ways and throw different looks at third down and not just bring the house every time or drop back into coverage. I am trying to throw as many different looks on third down as I possibly can to try and keep him on his toes.
I like that. I'm typing in my first note right now, which is I would like to play more man defense against this Packers team. I'm not suggesting play man all the time. There's no team that does that, no team that can do that. You know, OCs would eat you alive if you played man all the time. They know what to do with that. But I would love to mix in more man. And my first reason for doing so, not my only reason, I may bring up another point later. I really want to eliminate the confusion that Matt LaFleur, places on linebackers and defensive backs. He loves to make them have to make choices, right? And, you know, if they take option A, then he'll, you know, he's taught his receivers and love, you know, you just play this way, you take that option. If you play option B, you know, in these zone matchups, he creates all this confusion for these defensive backs and linebackers. They're having to make decisions midstream. And sometimes that's fine. And it's especially fine if you have an outstanding secondary that is capable of that level of communication and playmaking. But a lot of defenses don't. And in that case, I really would love to eliminate all of that in the moment decision making. Let's play man more often. Let's take away a lot of that confusion. So that really, and again, I'm not suggesting even 70 or 80% man, but I hate it when they're sitting back there playing zone and LaFleur has set up some little two route combo and the defensive back goes in the wrong direction and this other guy's wide open for, you know, 20, 30, 40 yards. I mean, it just ticks me off. I'm like, that's too easy. So let's eliminate some of that on some of these plays, some of these key downs here. Let's play a little bit more man is what I would be looking for in those situations. All right, Shane, back to you, man. Give us another way to attack this Packers offense.
But mine really piggybacks right off of what you said, Ben, because I agree with the LaFleur comment. He's always looking to try to make a defender think. They have to make a decision based on the information that they're trying to pull in. Me as a defensive coordinator, I want to eliminate a thought process. So for me, I blitz heavy on Green Bay. I think Love has gotten better. I don't think he's great at it. And I think you can really throw their passing game off on the timing. A lot of A gap, come right up the middle at them. And then, as you mentioned, with the guys on the outside, other than the Kraft is an emerging tight end and you can get off of him. But if I was going opposite, whatever strength you're going to call off of that tight end, I'm bringing heat off the opposite end every single time. The run game doesn't really get all the way outside you, so I wouldn't have to worry about pinching ends or trying to really hold the line there. But from what I've seen, the teams that bring pressure against him, that's when he's having the most difficulty. And I think that you can run a lot of run blitzes where you're still going to keep guys, like I said, heavy up the A gap and try to take on blockers, or bring the pressure from the outside and let's try to make Love have to make quick decisions.
See, and I totally agree. And again, he's improved on it. And there are times he's going to make a great throw and just beat your blitz, you know. And I realize there are analytics out there for these different quarterbacks. It's just, but a lot of times those analytics are, what's the word? They are corrupted by the offensive coordinator's ability to predict and set things up. Okay. But I really feel like if I mix in more man, I take away some of the easy stuff, and then I come blitz heavy, which gives him some stress levels. The last thing I want is for Jordan sitting back there comfortably, just picking me apart in zone. Okay. So I totally agree with the blitz heavy thing. I'm actually going to feed off of that as well and put in my next point, and then we'll let Austin do the last one here. I'm going to play a lot of single high safety. It's not because I want to, it's because I think I have to. And the reason for it is this. If I'm doing four or five guys focused on Josh Jacobs stopping the run, and if I'm playing a little bit more man and mixing in more blitzes, I can't keep two safeties back there the whole game. There's just not enough guys in the field to do that. I've got to give up something. So I'm going to be forced basically to switch to more single high. And that single high is usually going to be over the two wideout set or the Matthew Golden set, right? Because he's got that great vertical speed. We even saw him beat, you know, two guys downfield in the Commanders game last week. So the single high guy is going to have to be sitting over the top of the speed assets, and that's just the way it's going to have to be. I would rather force Jordan Love, and I got a lot of respect for Jordan Love, but when I watch him throw deep balls, he does not consistently hit them when a man is on them. He will make usually one great throw each game, and then he'll miss two or three more on the deep covered stuff. So I just want to make life difficult on that. He's got a big enough arm to hit anything, but I can't stop everything. So I'm gonna hinder the run. I'm going to blitz as much as I can, mix it in, and then I'm forced basically to go single high with single high sitting over the speed assets or the two wide receiver assets. Is basically what we're looking at there. So, um, that's where I'm at. Number six, Austin, give us the last thing here, man.
Mine plays in with yours really well, Ben, and mine is to get out of nickel. I'm
Mm.
running base against this team a lot, and I know nickel has kind of become de facto base for a lot of teams, but I am not putting a fifth DB out there. I am daring these receivers to beat me because, to be honest with you, I don't think any of them can. So, you know, Jordan Love certainly can. He's got that kind of talent, I think. But
Right.
the receivers also have another job to do on their end. So I'm getting out of nickel. I'm sticking with a base defense. I think running a single high safety base defense is a really solid plan of attack. And honestly, I'm probably mugging linebackers a lot as well, up
Hmm.
to the line of scrimmage. Uh, you know, making Jordan Love uncomfortable pre-snap. He's really good under pressure, but giving the illusion of pressure often, I think could help potentially when you're ready to actually bring it. So I'm keeping the big bodies over the middle and daring him to beat me down the sidelines. He's got some weapons to do it, but they have not proven it that they can yet. Golden's a rookie, and Christian Watson's perennially hurt, and I'm not necessarily worried about Dontavian Wicks beating me, on the outside down the sideline. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm gonna come back to each of y'all for just a final wrap up thought here, but I didn't even get to it. I was gonna say take away the early underneath stuff, the easy underneath stuff, which I've already alluded to. But Austin, when you're mugging these two linebackers here and the defensive backs are moving over, obviously everybody loves mugging because you don't really know where the pressure's coming from, right? You're getting simulated pressures. You may drop both of them right back out, right? And that's fine. But no matter what, whether I get to kind of increase pressure on Love or I get to drop back out into the short coverage, in theory, I'm eliminating a lot of this short, easy stuff. I know Love can beat me downfield probably once or twice a game. I'm honestly willing to give it up, once or twice a game, not four times a game at 28 points, right? But once or twice a game, I'm willing to give it up if he gets loose. But this guy over here, if this happens to be the guy that's one on one with whoever the fast wide receiver on that side is, he's just going to have to get deep enough and then move forward and make a tackle and eliminate the first down catch there. So I love that idea. That's right in line with what I would be thinking as well. So yeah, I'm totally with you guys on everything you're putting out. All right, Shane, final thoughts here on Packers offense and what we're trying to do.
I think my big hit on this would be just like Austin mentioned. I play base. When I think about Green Bay's offense, as you mentioned, Ben, you can color analytics any way you want. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan, defensive coordinator wise, of the Mike Tyson philosophy. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And the more pressure that you can bring directly to your quarterback, no matter how great your quarterback is, it's real hard if you have to pick himself up after every single play. And I think the defensive coordinators that have done best against Green Bay, you can look at Fangio in Philadelphia, Brian Flores, when you're talking about Minnesota, those type of guys that can move people around, shadow pressure, and then bring it from where you're not expecting. That's how you get quarterbacks on their back. And that makes it very difficult, regardless of how great your talent is around you, to be able to run your offense. Um, Take a look at Cincinnati. You win a game with Jake Browning, ton of turnovers. It's not Joe Burrow out there. No team wants to play their backup quarterback. That's why they're a backup quarterback. And the more pressure you can get on anybody and the more hits on a starting quarterback, the better your defense is going to play.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, I referenced your mugging talk. I didn't mention the less knuckle, more base. I agree with that too. I kind of accidentally drew that up. I didn't even think about that, to be honest. I didn't, but I've got essentially three linebackers here on the field with four defensive backs here, and part of that is to stop the run, but part of that is just, hey, sit underneath. We're not carrying all these routes downfield. The defensive backs are doing that. So yeah, totally agree. All right, Austin, final thought here on Packers offense.
Yeah, for the Packers, I think it's very easy to get worried about the big play with them because of all
Yep.
the speed they have with Golden and Watson when he's healthy. So I think that is something that lingers over defensive coordinators, and nothing to me is like more disheartening to a team than giving up a big play like that, especially, if the offense goes three and out, this team gets the ball and then immediately score, and the Packers go and score on three plays. So I think that is a reasonable concern, but that's going to have to be something that I would be willing to give up every once in a while in order to not let guys like Tucker Kraft, who you've mentioned, have big games. Because even just last week, we saw him have a monster game.
Yep.
He's capable of that. So he's a guy who I'm circling and saying, let's not let Tucker Kraft beat me. If Matthew Golden beats me for on, a Jamison Williams type game for, that he tends to have. If he beats me with one of those, then that's just a freak doing freaky things. But I'm not going to count on that happening too often. And then I haven't mentioned it because I knew you guys would. Josh Jacobs is a really talented back and has to be, you know, if he's not forefront of your mind, he's always kind of in your subconscious because he can wear on you. He's one of those backs
Yeah.
that can just linger, and when you least expect it, kind of strike. So this is a really good offense, one that would not be fun to have to game plan against. So all these NFC North coordinators that have to do it twice a year, I don't envy them.
I don't either. They've got plenty of tools to work with and one of the better signal callers in the game, schemers. So it's not easy, and a quarterback who can throw the ball anywhere. So that's the Green Bay Packers, everybody. Thank y'all very much. That's excellent work there. Totally agree with everything that everybody's putting out. This is Pro Football Enterprises. We're going to be doing more of this over the season. If there's an offense out there in the audience that you want us to try to cover, we're not going to cover all 32 this year, but we'll cover anyone that you want us to. And if we don't hear from you, we'll pick out some more. But if there is one, let us know. We'd be more than happy to cover that offense for sure. So, everybody, thank you. Have a great one. See you next time. Goodbye.